I was looking for a stealth in VR that would take up the mechanics of Splinter Cell, and Tales of Glory 2 has captured in good part what I would expect from a VR version of the famous Sam Fisher series. There are not only solo stealth missions, but also operations to be carried out with your team, and even an entire battalion of armed and trained soldiers, who advance like a steamroller, knocking down every enemies they encounter. Stick to the screen, because I'm going to tell you about Tales of Glory 2, a game that anticipates what I would like to be done for the next VR Splinter Cell game. In the operation, you can decide whether to go with your team, to which you can also give orders with voice command, or alone, to put in practice your fighting skills. In this operation, you have to complete some objectives, such as eliminating all the hostile in the area, or capturing some sensitive points. In single-player missions, on the other hand, you have to slip through the shadows and reach some targets, such as recovering some files from a PC or deleting a VIP. Even in this mission, you can choose the approach you want, but the one that gives more emotion is the stealth. Enemies can be stunned, grabbed or dragged into the shadows, killed in a variety of ways, such as a shot, stopped, beaten to death, or you can break their necks and can be dragged and hidden. There is no much interaction with the world. Objects do not break if they are shot or hit and cannot be grabbed. Only a few items like scans and few other things you can take to be thrown and distract enemies. Graphically, the game is pleasant, the detail is good and the models are convincing. The details of the particle effect are also good. For example, is it possible to notice the suspended dust in the air illuminated by the headlights, and the holes caused by the bullets on the bodies and surfaces give the sense of death thanks to a good tessellation work. Despite being an early access game, there are some details that are not even found in the officially released game and more expensive ones. For example, the weapons do not clip with the walls and other objectives in the environment, but slam into them, and you can shoot over a wall by resting the barrel of the weapon on it. The details of the weapon models are good. The attention to detail and the care of the characteristics of the weapons makes everything even more credible, and the mechanics of reloading and use have been well studied. For example, you can close the gun carriage by pressing the button on the controller. At the beginning of the mission, you can choose a loadout, that is the combination of primary weapons, secondary, grenades and gadgets to take on the mission, and you can save up to 2 loadouts. The clash with the enemies can take place in different ways, with firearms in the most agitated situations, or with knife, blunt objects, bare hands, if you can take them by surprise. 2 things particularly surprised me: the reaction of the body of the enemies to the various shots, with quite realistic animations, to which is also added a nice use of ragdoll, never exaggerated. And the AI of the enemies, who will not stand still on the spot to be shot, but will move, exploit the shelters, try to encircle you or take you on the side, and organize among themselves to find the intruder who hides in the shadows. Bugs are not lacking, of course. Climbing is not perfect and does not always work well. Sometimes the interaction with the bodies of the enemies makes the scene very hilarious, with bodies that float, twist, or take bizarre positions. It's not possible to climb the stairs, and if you want to do it, you have to jump every step. The enemies do not seem to hear the sound of your step even if you run behind them. The missions are exaggeratedly short, especially after having played them once and understood where the various objectives are. And in stealth mission, you suffer a little for the linearity of the only viable road and the impossibility of finding alternative routes and approaching in different ways to the objectives and with the enemies. The missions, both operations and stealth, are single experience not linked to each other by a story or a plot, completely absent. So much so that each mission can be selected and played immediately. Among the gadgets and weapons of a real agent, there is no lack of the knife. which, just like in Splinter Cell, can be used to eliminate enemies in silence. Unfortunately, it's not clear why, every time it's launched, another one is immediately created in the holster, and another one, and again, and again, and again. And the same goes for the magazines. They really never end, so much so that I was able to create a real mound of magazines right in front of me, simply pulling them out from the loader holster and throwing them on the ground. Summing up, Tales of Glory 2 is a small hidden gem that has yet to be roughed up and that can still bring out so many interesting things. And if only the developers wanted it, they may make us feel need for an official Splinter Cell VR, because what Sam Fisher fans are looking for could already be here. The game has also an exceptional value for money, highly recommended for those who like the genre and also for those who are just curious.